a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
And this week, we're watching K-Popped on Apple TV+, Long Story Short on Netflix, The Runarounds on Prime Video, and The Paper on Peacock.
So stay tuned to the end to find out which K-pop group BJ would want to perform with.
Easy. But I'll be happy to share with everyone.
All right. Until then, why don't you tell us what happened in K-Popped on Apple TV+.
Sure. Hosted by actor and comedian Soo Jung-sun, each episode finds Western chart toppers teaming up with celebrated K-pop groups to reimagine one of their biggest songs, culminating in bold collaborative stage performances. With just a short window to rehearse, these genre-bending partners deliver electrifying renditions for a live audience in Seoul and vote for who stood out as the K-popped performance of the night. In this first episode, we see Megan Thee Stallion and Patti LaBelle joining the K-pop group Billy. So, Mitu, what were your first impressions?
They got some guests for this one. We have Meg Thee Stallion, Patti LaBelle in this first episode. I love that they teased that we're going to see Boyz II Men, Spice Girls, TLC, Vanilla Ice. So it made me think that they had a lot of fun planning this and what are the classic songs we'd like to see reimagined. And truly, my main thought throughout all of this was just it was a joy to watch Billy split in two and have half of the group work with each artist. Like seeing how they worked with Miss Patti LaBelle was very unique. Seeing how they worked with Meg and really integrated Meg Thee Stallion into their band was really lovely. Like they had very different collaboration styles, but each was a joy to witness.
And fun fact, Billy split up along their vocal line and their rap line.
Yes, I noticed that the rappers went with Meg and the singers went with Miss Patti. And then what I love about that as well is like K-pop has its roots in hip hop, in rap, in R&B, and in pop, and specifically in so much of Black music. So I thought having them team up with a rapper for their first challenge was such a natural fit. And also having them team up with Miss Patti LaBelle, who is really a pillar of each of these genres of music, like is a foundational pillar. It felt like they were meeting the like core of their music. And when Haram started crying, when she sang with Miss Patti, it made me tear up too, because I was like, wow, that must actually be huge for you, even if you understand a fraction of the significance of this.
For sure. I think her influence, even Meg Thee Stallion's influence is felt. And anyone getting the chance to perform with Patti, that's like a mind-blowing opportunity. So I think it's really cool that you do have the history with K-pop being inspired by Motown, but then also just Patti LaBelle being a musical legend. And it's like, hey, you will be not only on stage with her, but singing with her.
It was so beautiful when their voices harmonized. Obviously, the dynamic was more like her half of Billy were kind of like background singers and dancers for her, which there is no other way to perform with Miss Patti LaBelle. Obviously, you take second to this legend. And the parts where they did integrate with each other, it was really beautiful.
Yes, and I think that highlighted the difference in the two performances, where Meg was much more willing and I think physically capable of learning some of the same choreography that Billy would be doing.
Yeah.
And so they were able to plan that Savage performance as an ensemble group performance. And then with Lady Marmalade, they were able to split it up so everyone could shine in what they were best at.
Yes. Those approaches made sense for the artists. And specifically, the K-popped version of Savage was so good. because I think that is like a more recent song, a more flexible song where we're more open to like different versions of it. I know Lady Marmalade has been remixed every which way because, again, like Miss Patti LaBelle is foundational to music, but it was nice to hear like a K-pop beat on Savage. Like it felt like a song that I was more prepared to hear like a new and very different version of. And I loved the way that Meg Thee Stallion interacted with Billie because she is such a huge K-pop fan. Like, this was not her first time in South Korea. This was not her first time collaborating with the K-pop group. She really loves this genre of music and these bands. And so watching them, for example, like one half of the band fed Meg Thee Stallion like almost like a prank, like extremely hot, spicy noodles. But then the other half of the band just presented Miss Patti LaBelle with like a nice cake. It's just like, it felt right for the two artists.
And I think not only do we have the charming interactions, we see them rehearsing together, but at the end of the day, this is a fun, collaborative show. They do end up picking a winner. We're not going to spoil who the audience votes on, but this type of reality competition isn't so competitive. You could see both halves of Billie enjoying seeing what the other team had put together. Like, it was just a fun, low stakes musical experience.
And we need more low stakes competitions. I think that's why people are so obsessed with Great British Bake Off, where it's like these people are competing, they're doing it for the love of the game, but there's not like money on the line. It's a very kind show, at least in appearance. I don't know what it's like to be in the tent. And I got a similar vibe here where it's even lower stakes. Like, these are successful people just being like, I wonder if we like freaked my song on a K-pop beat, how would that sound? And then it's K-pop bands that already have a name but just want to further expand their audience being like, I wonder if I freaked this TLC song, how would that sound? And so it's great that like it's just fun.
So with it being so fun, will you watch more episodes of K-Popped on Apple TV Plus?
Yes, I enjoyed it. I'm not typically a singing competition person, but I thought this one was so fun and unique that I will watch again casually. And I think this is going to be a really good one to have on also when I do stuff around the house because the music itself is great. Like, I think it'll feel similar to when, you put on a playlist to like handle chores.
Yes. I will watch again. Seriously, this has a lot of my favorite K-pop artists performing. I was already a fan of Billie. ITZY is going to be on a future episode, and so will Black Swan. Light spoiler, I've already seen Black Swan and Boyz II Men perform together. Amazing.
Ooh, that's true. You're a real K-pop girl. So if it has your stamp of approval, this is serious.
This is real K-pop, y'all.
All right. Well, why don't you take us from the stage to a bar mitzvah?
You're talking about Long Story Short on Netflix. This series tells the story of a middle-class Jewish family in a non-linear timeline. It stars the three siblings, Avi, voiced by Ben Feldman, Shira, voiced by Abby Jacobson, and Yoshi, voiced by Max Greenfield, as they experience ordinary adult events while looking back on their highly religious childhood. So, Mitu, what were your first impressions?
This felt very BoJack Horseman. Understandably, it's from the same people, but I felt like because it was so BoJack that I needed to brace myself because that is a show that was very funny, but also did its best to break me.
I never watched BoJack Horseman, but from our conversations, it sounds like they hit on some adult themes like anxiety and depression and tell those stories through comedy, which is like what this show is doing.
And it was funny. I loved seeing how Avi would diffuse tension with his mom, making these little quips. There is a scene at the very beginning in this realm of the nonlinear storytelling where they're children and their parents are driving and they're grieving a loss. And the mom goes, well, there's no heaven. And the kids are grappling with that. And then Avi goes, we couldn't have negotiated a better deal. And it just made her laugh. It made me laugh. It helped diffuse the tension in the scene. And there's a lot of that dynamic between the two of them, his mom being Naomi, voiced by Lisa Edelstein. And so that was fun. Like, that dynamic made me laugh. Yoshi at his bar mitzvah also navigating and grappling with some religious beliefs and uncoverings. And those scenes made me laugh, of him with his friends talking. I thought that was really lovely. I thought the non-linear storytelling was really interesting. Like, it felt like a movie, the way we flash back. We go to some kind of present and then we flash way forward. And I just kept feeling like there were so many intense scenes that there was only potential for more, like, painful things.
Yes, there's a lot of potential for painful, difficult stories. And I think that works well with this nonlinear storytelling. It focused more on Avi in this first episode, but I like seeing him as a child, then seeing him at an earlier stage in his relationship with Jin, and then kind of what the future holds for both of them. And I think that is where it gets a little tough for me, because the difficult storylines, the raw emotions, it can feel heavy. And I think maybe I just cared too much for the character Jin in this pilot episode. So watching her struggle was not fun.
I will say there is a scene at this bar mitzvah, which was a great place to set the pilot. I love when shows do like a Thanksgiving or bar mitzvah or family event, funeral, wedding, these things where you are all together for one thing. You're either celebrating or mourning, but just the most bare side of you comes out at these things. And in this case, it's the bar mitzvah for the youngest. And when they try to light a candle for Jen, and a family member takes issue with that and says that someone that he loves should instead have a candle lit for her.
Mm-hmm.
That scene was so hard to watch. And also, in that classic BoJack way, I was cracking up.
And I think it does a good job of highlighting when someone younger is caught between like two older family members.
Yes.
And you don't know, who do I listen to? Because either way, someone will be mad.
There's not an adult we can turn to in this moment.
Especially not those two adults.
What is it? Clowns to the left of me, jokers to my right. Like, this is what's happening here.
Overall, did you like seeing how this family operated and their life story?
I thought it was very interesting. I think we can get into the ratings for that, because I feel like in this first episode, we saw so much potential for what could be with each of these family members. They really showed out. Even the ones that were not the focus, each had their moments to show out. Because we didn't really talk about Shira, for example, but she has some moments in this bar mitzvah. Lots of opinions, lots of thoughts. And so it provides such a potential to see where these people go. And for me, I'm interested. However, I think that I would have to watch again, maybe even less than casually. Like, maybe I take myself down to once every couple weeks, because that's how I had to do BoJack. I tried to marathon BoJack and that wrecked me. And I had to watch that very, very slowly. And I think with this one, I'll have to do the same. And if you're also a sensitive TV viewer, maybe you'd need to do the same, because it's very well written, very funny, very heartfelt. And also, I can tell this show is going to rip me apart. Like, I have that written in my notes.
Yeah, I think the sadness is my main concern. So I would maybe watch while folding laundry occasionally. I want more of the heartfelt moments, because I do like the idea of the family dynamic and seeing them throughout these different parts of the timeline. But there's a little too much chaos and stress on top of the heartfelt moments.
Fair.
So how about we go from a family throughout their timeline to Wilmington, North Carolina?
You're talking about the Runarounds on Prime Video. Based in Wilmington, North Carolina, this show follows a rock band formed between a disparate group of high school graduates, and they have one summer to make all their dreams come true.
No, me too. That sounded like the plot of a movie.
A Disney movie.
And I think this captured a lot of the charm of a Disney movie.
It was such a lovely YA, high stakes, we're all going to separate at the end of this summer. So we have this one, like July and August to make it big and get signed or, whatever it means when you're trying to be a rock band. And so I really loved that. And I say it feels like a Disney movie truly with love. Like, I really enjoyed the way that they told this story. And with each band member, we get glimpses into their personal lives and the issues that they face. And that also felt very like TV movie. If I felt like I had a whole story, like a complete story in this pilot episode.
Yes, there is that TV movie cinematic feel to it. And I feel like it returns to a type of storytelling that we don't see as much when it comes to teenage stories. They're graduating, they're all seniors. Some of them have college plans, some of them already have career plans, some of them want to make it in music. And I feel like it's refreshing that that's the focus. Teenagers focusing on their individual passions, dealing with their family as they're transitioning into adulthood. And we do see some partying, so this would probably not be on the Disney Channel, maybe ABC Family or Freeform. But it is a different spin on teenage coming of age that I feel like we don't get as much of anymore.
And this will take a long time, but I want to go through this band because the chemistry of a hopefully newly named band, this is fire. We have our lead, Charlie, played by William Lipton. He's skipping college to try to make it as an artist. We have stoner Neil, played by Axel Ellis. We have captain of the golf team, Yale-bound Topher, played by Jeremy Yun. We have our former drummer turned manager, light spoiler, Pete, played by Maximo Salas, who's kind of a mess as well. And then we have our two new band members, one, Wyatt, who has a lot of issues at home, played by Jesse Gallagher, and then Bez, played by Zende Murdoch. So we have this fantastic group of guys. And one thing I learned about why their chemistry might be so fire, both in like how they interact with each other, and we have a scene where they even help one of them through kind of a tough moment, and in how they play together. I wrote in my notes, like, this is not usually my type of music, but this is real cute. And I found out like investigative journalism, an article I read about this show told me that the creator of the show, a couple years prior to filming, actually auditioned a band, like put together a band first before writing and making this show. So this is a group of young men who were put together and they were handpicked from an open music casting. So that's why they make such a great band together. And now that they've been together for so long, they've actually performed as a band. They have written some of the songs. They have basically been like very collaborative in this process, which is why I think some of these characters feel so infused.
Yes, and that's so smart on the production team because like you, I was impressed by the music.
Yeah.
And it was one of those cases where you're like, are they good at performing? Did they find some good people to cover? Did they hire some real people who were playing behind the camera? And it's like, no, this is just a good band.
Yeah.
And that adds to the feel of the show because you can tell that they feel like a real band.
They have this really lovely aha moment the first time they all play music together, like this final iteration of the band. That was truly lovely to see and hear.
Yes, the chemistry, I feel like they do a great job of showing it without telling it through their music. The way that they look at each other, the way that they perform and their stage presence. And then that ties nicely into the story, such as Wyatt, who is this music creative who can write songs. And you have Charlie, who's also into songwriting. So it feels real.
And we have possible songwriting in Charlie's love interest, Sophie.
Yes, if you watch the pilot, stay tuned to the end. They do give a little preview of the season, maybe show a little too much, but
Yeah, they give a lot away, which goes into my rating. If you're ready to share, if we want to watch more episodes of the Runarounds on Prime Video,
yes, how about you go first?
I would watch again casually. I'm not a YA person typically, not in this way. I have not seen The Summer I Turned Pretty. I'm so sorry to that community, but I have not watched a lot of these shows. This is the same team that created Outer Banks. We've seen a bit of Outer Banks, but I haven't really seen that one through. This one I would watch again casually because I really enjoyed the music. I really enjoyed the storytelling. My only caveat is so much TV is coming back because we are in September now. So I will reserve this one to like when all the TV goes away again in November.
Oh, interesting.
Because I think it'll be a good cozy watch.
Yeah, I think this would be good to go into winter watching this.
Yeah.
I will also watch again casually. I really like the music. I like this type of storytelling. And I feel like they've set themselves up well to show us what can happen during that summer between senior year of high school and starting college.
So much potential.
So much. You know what else has a lot of potential?
What?
A newspaper.
You're talking about The Paper on Peacock. In this spinoff from Greg Daniels, a documentary crew follows the Toledo Truth Teller, a historic but declining Midwestern newspaper trying to resurrect itself with volunteer reporters.
So me too. I'm going to let our listeners know you've seen The Office many times.
Okay.
How does this
I
compare?
did like one full rewatch.
That's more than me.
That's true. That's fair. I am fully a millennial who loves The Office. I rewatched it a few years ago and it really held up for me. I obviously will catch it on cable because I'm also somebody who will never cut the cord. And this show, for me, just off top, really dealt well in the nostalgia. Like opening with some, I don't want to spoil it, so there are some faces that you'll see in the beginning of this episode that you'll just smile ear to ear. It'll be so lovely to see them back on your screen. And then I love that they clearly had some almost like one-to-ones of the people that we encounter in this office and the people from the original show. And then we also had like moments that felt very similar to even the pilot of The Office. Like when Ken was giving the rundown of how Enervate, this paper company, works, it felt like Jim in the pilot episode talking about how the paper company at Dunder Mifflin worked. When Mare and Ned share a special moment at the end of the first episode, it reminded me of a special moment that Jim and Pam share in the first episode. So it's very, there were many moments that harkened back for me.
Yes, almost one-to-one, which I didn't mind. I thought it worked well because even though there are those comparisons between the interactions, some of the characters, everyone did feel unique enough. And I was actually worried at first by the size of the cast because it felt like a lot of new personalities to meet, and maybe they would just be doing carbon copies of people. But I think they did a great job of introducing us to everyone within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And they all seem interesting.
Very. I was very happy to see Melvin Gregg. That's an actor I like a lot. Seeing him as Detrick, the sales guy, and specifically watching him attempt to comfort Nicole, played by Ramona Lee, despite the fact that she didn't need to be comforted, that was very, very funny to me. I mentioned her already, but Mare, played by Chelsea Fry, is like somebody who wants to be taken seriously as a real journalist. Watching her interactions with this new editor-in-chief, Ned, played by Donald Gleason, was a big deal. And then my standout character is my good sis from White Lotus season 2, my favorite season of White Lotus, Sabrina Impacciatori, who plays Esmeralda.
True standout. We meet her early in the episode.
Yes.
Everything she does is funny and entertaining, and without her, this wouldn't have the same charm.
two major things happen through her that for me made the show really work. Because there's two kinds of humor that we're seeing here. The first is like using humor to talk about this tough state that we genuinely find ourselves in with local news and the importance of local news and the importance of funding it. She walks us through how she makes a clickbait article, and her description of how to do that, I had to pause. I was laughing so hard, especially when she reveals the end of the clickbait article. Her delivery of that was perfect. The other type of humor that we see is just true office hijinks. Like there are many ridiculous hijinks that happen. And she has a couple moments where she just puts Ned through hell because he shows up and kind of usurps her. And I don't want to reveal what they are, but they are so funny.
It's like one of those effortless, funny type of moments where you can tell that's Esmeralda's personality. She's going to do this again, whether she is trying to be mean or not.
Can I tell you one of my favorite scenes that didn't involve Esmeralda?
Please.
With our small scenes with side characters, when Adelola, played by Bemisola Ikumelo, when she says, I think my coworker Adam is a poor religious person with no skills. Like she thinks that he's a charitable hire. And then when his character talked to camera about Adelola, he's played by Alex Edelman, when he goes, I think Adelola is very emotional. Sometimes I catch her looking at me with tears in her eyes. I cracked up because she was so disgusted by the lunch his wife packed.
And those two also had another scene I loved where Adelola tells someone else to sit down and Adam immediately plops to the floor, crisscross applesauce. I was like, I know she's frustrated right now.
I know she's tired. It was so good. What a fun show. Do you want to just get into ratings for the paper on Peacock?
Let's do it.
Okay, for Comedy Hive, for Sitcom Hive, I think this is an easy one. I will watch again seriously. I think that there are very big shoes to fill when you say that you're an extension of the show The Office. But in this case, I think it's very funny, and I think it stands alone as its own story and a very funny story. There's like nostalgia at the top and woven throughout, but even if you did not have that nostalgia, you would still tee-hee and ha-ha through this one. What about you, Beej?
I have to agree. This is a comedy that hits. I would watch again seriously. It reminds me a lot of Superstore, where they did a lot of commentary on working at big box stores, getting commentary on newspapers in today's era. And I think the office dynamics just worked really well. No one felt too over the top or like no one felt like an animated character brought to life. These are just real chaotic and down to earth people stuck in an office together.
And trying to tell the news, kind of.
That's what Ned wants.
Well, which K-pop band would you want to perform with?
ITZY, my favorite band.
Ooh, I would love that for you. ITZY, call BJ.
I'm ready. I don't really want to sing, but I'll stand on stage with y'all.
That would be fun.
And me too will sing with y'all.
Okay, why I always have to be in the hypotheticals? Like, why can't you just do the hypothetical and I don't have to be in it?
You don't have to be in it, but you'll be there.
Okay.
And we'll do the choreography.
ITZY, don't call.
We'll put you through the K-pop training. We'll get your vocals up to par.
I do feel like that K-pop boot camp, I feel like I can't sing and I can't dance, but maybe I just haven't had anyone tough on me.
Honestly, I've heard a lot where they're like, we can teach you how to sing and dance. Like, if you got the stage presence, that's all you need to start with.
And that's what I'm missing as well.
No, you have it. I see it.
Please. Although people can't trust your reviews of my stage presence, they can trust your reviews of pilot episodes of TV shows. So where can they find more of them?
Our trustworthy reviews are on our website at thepilotpodcast.com, and you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
You can also follow us on social media at The Pilot Pod, and you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, because every other week we do a show recommended by you, our wonderful listeners, to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.